welcome to justTRU.
Sorry. Come back.
All right, come on, let's go.
Welcome to justTRU Podcast.
The Reality Uncovered.
The Reality Uncovered.
Spoken by Joshua King Terry.
And Shimon English. Alright, so all this talk about a man. A man is this, a man is that, a man is like, what is a man, Josh? Like, I don't know. What is a man?
Well, first off, I didn't like how you put that in there. That's first and
well,
foremost.
correct me clearly.
Yeah, absolutely. A man is an individual who provides, prepare, and protect his family at all costs at the end of the day. But before we even get into that, welcome to the second episode of justTRU Podcast.
You invited me?
Huh?
Or you invited the people?
I mean, I don't know.
Are they invited too?
The people are always invited.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's true. Number 2, let's go.
Absolutely.
Back into this man's,
Right.
do he look good? Do he smell good? Like, give me some insight.
Right. I think before we even talk about looks and smell good or whatever the case is, right, I think we have to talk about what it is to be a man. And it's an internal process. We can talk about the most obvious one, which is providing. I think most women would associate providing something like financial or whatever the case is, right?
I mean,
right. And that's a part of it, but I think that's very one-dimensional and basic as fuck. I mean, yeah, it's pretty basic. I think a man not only provides financially, he provides emotional stability, intellectually. So
absolutely.
He has different components of providing at the end of the day, right? And I think if a man talks about, if he listens to a woman and say, you only provide financially, and if he's not in a position to provide financially, then naturally he feels less than a man.
Correct.
Right? But again, you shouldn't take what it is to be a man from a woman.
Absolutely.
Right? So there is more about provision than just finance.
I mean, just from a woman's perspective, right? Like, society has taught us that a man could decide to leave you tomorrow. So as long as you get something out of it, he buying you trips, he cashing you out, paying for this and that, then he's a provider.
Again, I think that's basic as fuck.
I mean, I agree.
Right? So,
I agree.
And I think that mindset is coming from a woman who is from a single family household. The woman is hurt who's giving that information to her daughter, right? Therefore, you're coming into the relationship expecting something in return and not adding something of value. Men just have to stop, honestly, listening to women about what it is to be a man. I think that's the most stupidest shit ever on the planet, right?
I agree.
Right? I think a man needs to listen to another man, right? Again, how can a woman say, if you're not giving me trips or taking me around the world, et cetera, then you're not a man,
absolutely.
Right? First off, if your woman speak like that, you should fucking leave her, right? And you should put her back where she belongs, in the streets.
You're not wrong, right? And I know we're talking about the pillars of what a man is, but just from a woman's perspective, it's an exchange. It's become just an exchange, right? So I don't want my man to just give me these things. Of course, unbeknownst to me, I need those other things, but because the society we live in and the generation we live in has emphasized the importance of a man being able to monetarily take care of you, providing equals your monetary value. Now, of course, we understand that value comes more than just what you can monetarily provide. But for today's women, it's like, man, if you got the bread, then what are we talking about?
Right. So let's back up the conversation for a second.
Let's do it.
Okay. So first off, we're not talking about the pillars. We're just talking about the fundamental things of what a man is, right?
Okay,
what all men should be doing, right?
Protect, provide,
and prepare, right? So that's all men fundamentally, right? The 4 pillars of being a man is being a man of God, right? Being a father, being a husband, and being a leader in his community or job, or being a CEO, or just the head of his household. But we're just talking about the fundamental basics of what a man is, and that's providing, preparing, and protecting at the end of the day. Now, back to your point of something about money.
My question was, right, in the society that we live in, there has been such an emphasis placed on a man's ability to monetarily provide for a woman,
right,
that women have decided, I don't care about them feelings. I'm not worried about my feelings. As long as you can bring the bag, secure the bag, then it's all well and dandy. But again, as we discussed, a man's value is not just directly equated to his monetary value, because me personally speaking, I've been with a person who has a lot of money, but he didn't have a lot of value.
Right. So a man's value comes from his ability to perform. Let's unpack that because you keep going back to money, right? And
No, that was the original statement.
Right. So no. Let's unpack it. So I think women say one thing and they mean another.
Okay,
At the
let's
end
talk
of the day,
about that.
right? That's just how all women work. So if you unpack that, what is she talking about, right? When she talks about money, right? She's
security.
100%.
Absolutely.
Right? So everything about a woman revolves around her security.
Absolutely.
Everything, right?
Absolutely.
Fundamentally,
whether she realizes it or not.
100%. And
Right.
all women need to realize it. Your security is the most important thing to you at the end of the day. When she talks about going on a trip, buying her a car, et cetera, right? She's talking about make me feel secure in what I have. But what I'm trying to say is women cannot necessarily dictate their security. That's something that a man does, right?
Correct.
Right? If a woman talks about her security, right, you can make her feel secure in other ways. She's only talking about one dimension of her security. So in exchange for security, right, men provide something in return, right? That's the exchange, right? So I think a woman under this scenario, if she had a man making, we'll say $60,000, right? I think it's a decent income or whatever the case is, right? He's making $60,000, right? But he is stimulating her emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, and giving her trips here and there, say 2 or 3 times out the year. I think that she will be beyond happy with that guy versus the guy that just simply trick off on her and buy her bags, purses, and so forth.
Let me tell you, I don't disagree with that for a woman who has went through her healing and understands what being a woman is. I feel like a lot of
we're talking about unhealed women,
right?
Well, I don't consider them as women.
Well, we haven't talked about that, right? Yeah. So the people don't understand that. We know that, but the people don't understand.
Sure.
That. So I'm referring to the majority, the mass, right?
Okay.
The mass of women have not went through their healing for whatever reason.
Right.
So they're not worried about that emotional stability because they don't have feelings.
So let me jump in. So men, just avoid them like the plague. It's simple. You don't even deal with those type of women, right? Why waste your time with that type of woman? She's not compatible for you. Why would you even let a woman drain you of your financial resources when she's not even worthy of the attention that you give her? So you avoid those women. It's simple. And you let those women go through their own healing or come to Jesus moment or whatever they need to go through to become better women. And then they enter the marketplace, right? And they'll let the next group of men deal with them and pick them up if they're not too old.
Okay, Josh. Okay. I don't disagree with that. I just feel like that's the majority of women these days.
Right. So the majority of women need to heal. So again, that's a really good point. That's why men are going outside of their natural habitat, right? And dealing with other women that are other races. And they are also dealing with other women from different countries at the end of the day.
Understood.
Right. So you kind of want to deal with your environment, right? What essentially looks like you, what you share in common. And all real men are looking for the same thing in a woman. Women need to be soft, submissive, and supportive. Every real man needs that from a woman at the end of the day,
Absolutely.
right? So it's different variations in which they need it, but we all need that from a woman. And if a unhealed woman cannot provide that, he simply looks outside of his habitat. And that's the phenomenon in which we're facing right now in America, especially within our community.
In addition to that, maybe is, okay, so we have men who have a proven program, and then we have men who don't have a proven program, but still feel
those are not men.
Males,
right,
with the unproven program,
right.
Thank you for clarifying.
Absolutely,
right. And they feel entitled to that same scenario. Or I need to go out of the country and find a woman because you know how to submit, but you haven't really given me anything to submit to. You haven't even proven your program to yourself.
Absolutely.
So what am I submitting to?
Absolutely.
And so we have the masses of men, the majority of men males who have not proven themselves to be men or haven't even proved to the world that they're men.
Sure.
So as a woman, I'm going to get what I can get from this male because he hasn't even proven himself to be somebody worth submitting to.
True.
So I'm going to drain him of his financial resources because at the end of the day, that's what he can provide.
What you're saying makes sense, right? So there's something else that's missing, right? Men don't know how to add value, right? And women don't know how to add value, right? So if you don't know how to add value, you simply go to this state of taking at the end of the day, right? So you talk about like what you're talking about. I'm just going to see what I can get out of him that makes me feel better about me or that's good for my household, right? Long term, that's not sustainable. So again, by default, women become baby moms. It's simple. Either we begin to correct and fix the issues at hand or continue down this dangerous path of not being married and women being single and raising kids by themselves, right? And I'm gonna be honest, the worst parent on the planet is a single mom at the end of the day. I don't care what nobody say. That could be very offensive, but it is what it is. It's just true. Even if you look at the incarceration as far as males are concerned, most of those guys grew up without their fathers and they were either raised by their single moms. And I'm even talking from my perspective, you know, as a man growing up, as a boy, thinking that you're a man, wanting to appease your mom and provide and so forth and give what you can give and figure out things, right? You start doing illegal activities because you lack the know-how or the intelligence to go about providing and making a honest living. So therefore you resort to petty things, stealing, taking, and so forth, right? Those things lead to bigger crimes and therefore it leads to your demise, whether your freedom or the grave. It comes from a lack of a man being in the household. It's a statistic that shows the mother has a child 50% of the time and the man has a child 50% of the time, right? And they're not in the same household. It increases that child's likelihood of being successful because you get a holistic approach of what it is to be a woman at the end of the day, what it is to be a son at the end of the day, right? Like, because men are not in the household or because there are a lack of men, right? Therefore, we live in this current reality of let me see what I can get out of a man, how I can get it for me and mine at the end of the day.
Okay, so valid points. So now that we have figured out the problem, what now?
Tune in to Just True podcast and follow my lead. Allow me to hold you accountable. Allow me to work with you and we grow together. You need God, right?
Amen.
You need God to show you your purpose, right? Each man has his own purpose, right? The part where we fail at as men, we don't discover our purpose. When you don't have a purpose, you walking around just aimlessly, right?
Literally.
At the end of the day, right? You're walking with no goals in mind, no tactics, no thought process at the end of the day, right? So you need God so he can give you your purpose. That's first and foremost. Once you know what your purpose is, and once you start walking in your purpose and you become confident in your authority, your God-given authority that has been given to you at birth, then you can start developing your skills as a leader, right? In your community, giving your time, right? Assisting in areas that will support uplifting who you are as a man in your community. Once you do that, then you can find a suitable mate who will support you, right, in your purpose, right? Because that's what women are designed for, to be helpmates at the end of the day, right? And they help you in your purpose, right? Because again, through your purpose, you trade her security for your purpose and she will support you in your purpose, but she can't support you if you don't have a purpose, right? And now you leaning on her to give you information about what it is to be a man. Women are more masculine than men at the end of the day because we're looking to our women
to teach us how to be men,
right? And
y'all to be men,
right? And it's sick at the end of the day.
I agree.
Why would she respect you, and why would she submit to your program, and why would she honestly want to procreate with you at the end of the day, right? Because women procreate with the men that they feel secure with, right? So if you don't give her any form of security, like I'm walking in my purpose, I'm doing these daily goals, right? I'm accomplishing things and so forth. And I'm going to say this, women have the ability to see a guy's potential, what he can be, right?
That's a problem, but yeah.
Right. No, it's not. No. Hold on. Let's
unpack that.
yeah. Let's talk about it. It's not a problem if it's done correctly at the end of the day, right? Time when women are starting off is more on your side, right? That's why you develop hips, curves, and so forth. Your cycle and so forth, right? Men, right? As men age, right, we should get better with time because it takes time to fulfill a purpose, right? To perform, to figure out who you are as an individual.
Absolutely.
That's why a woman can date a man's potential, right? Where it's fucked up at or where it doesn't work out at, he's not doing the work.
Yeah.
Right? That's where it becomes a problem. And that's where she feels like she's been slighted or she got the bad end of the stick. If a woman dates a man potential, right, and he knows who he is and his purpose, and he's working that purpose out, the woman will stick with him,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
She will.
Yes.
Right? Absolutely.
I think maybe this perspective I was coming from is like what you were saying is that you can see his potential, but he don't see his own potential, or he sees it but chooses not to act on it. And just coming from experience is that I can see the value in a man who didn't see the value in himself, and I'm trying to push him to be somebody that he can't see himself. And I think that that's more so a certain genre of women that, will follow a man down a freaking dark road and he has no direction. He has no actual plan or program in place, but you following him because you're dating his, his ability to do this or his ability to do that, when really he hasn't proven himself to himself or you that he can, execute on the program.
Right. So that's why he needs to connect back to God to get his purpose and to understand his purpose and spend time with himself. He needs to go in isolation and spend quality time with himself to figure out who he is.
Let's talk about that more.
Yeah, so that's exactly what he needs to do, right?
Isolation.
And yeah, that's important at the end of the day because if you're not isolating yourself, you're not dealing with yourself, right? So we all have our insecurities, we all have our faults, and we all have our shortcomings, right? The issue is, as a man, you need to know what your strengths and weaknesses are, right? If you don't know what your strengths and weaknesses are, how could you possibly know what to do in certain situations and so forth, right? And if you're definitely looking for your woman to tell you your strengths and weaknesses, you already lost in the first place. And she lost respect for you as she should.
And that's really what it boils down to, whether we want to admit it or not. Like, as a woman, I don't know if I can respect a man that needs to be guided by me. Like, I can understand being a helpmate, but if you look for me to guidance, like, I'm not your mother. Like, it's very much a mother thing to do to guide a man. Like, right. I can help you. Right. We can work together. Right. But for you to look to me to help you figure out you being a man, it's like I have a child. Like, it's another child that I'm not essentially going to respect because it's not my job to mother you.
I agree. What you're saying.
Talk about it.
But a part of me disagree because I think, and I could I could be misunderstanding what you're saying, right? But I think a woman is meant to guide a man, right? I think big picture, right? A man has his purpose, right? And his idea of what he wants to become, right. What God needs him to be. But I think the woman is the guiding force for most men, right? To get them there, right? So I think the woman is the sail. Like, I think the man is the mast or the sail, and the woman is the wind that is essentially propelling him and pushing him forward, right? Okay. That's why it's important for a man to choose the right woman at the end of the day. What a woman does, right, is make that man settle the fuck down, right? Yes. And block him from his distractions and the things that are on the outside, right? Whether it be chasing women, drinking, alcohol, et cetera, right? Correct. Right. And that woman, this is the power that women have over men. Absolutely. And you make him become what he was called to be at the end of the day, right? But he has to know what it is that he's supposed to be in order for the woman to guide him, to put him on the right path. So that's I agree. So that was a disconnect, right? It's not my place to tell you where you're going. It's my place to help you get there. That's right. I agree with that. I agree with that. That's between you and God. Yeah, the purpose. Absolutely. Right. A woman can't tell a man his purpose. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Because a woman is not God, right? Absolutely. God is God, and the relationship should be forged between God and man. And And that's what makes a man at the end of the day, where he's able to give directives to his household, right? And his woman comes in as a helpmate to support him in guiding him for the benefit of the house. Because what's driving the woman's guidance is her security.
Yes.
She wants to feel secure.
So to help him continue securing her, she needs to help him guide him to his purpose.
Right,
I stand corrected, absolutely.
Right, because women are just selfish in nature. And I think that's not a bad thing. That's a good thing, actually, right? But you just have to understand the nature of a woman.
Absolutely.
You don't change her nature. You understand her nature, right?
Say that again.
In order to benefit the household at the end
Say
of the day.
that again.
Well, you know what I said? I'm just on flow right now.
You don't change her nature. You understand her nature.
That's absolutely right. That sounded good. Did I
You
say
said
that?
it.
That's powerful.
Come on.
That was powerful.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Put it. Sure.
Yeah.
You don't change her nature. You understand her nature.
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah.
So now that we understand that, what's the second pillar?
It's not in a particular order. I would say God, which we spoke about, finding a significant other. I think what we spoke about, right? And then I think being a leader, I think it's important. Like all men are leaders, right? They might not be leaders, CEOs, or top managers or executive at their job, but at bare minimum, they should be leaders in their household.
Absolutely.
They should be leaders with their women, and they should be leaders with their children at the end of the day, right? And I think a man has to lead his household. I think that's a right, a responsibility, and a duty of a man. And I think if a man is not leading his household, then again, he's not being a man, right?
Whew, that is a really touchy subject. We briefly talked about, a friend of mine who is the very masculine energy in her marriage,
Right.
only because she has led her household and she is the
Right.
go-to in the household for everything. Yes, her husband is the provider as far as monetary, financially. He works and she stay at home.
Right.
But at the end of the day, what she says goes, and I feel like because of that, she doesn't respect him.
Yeah, why would she respect him? I mean, like, why would you respect a man? You see, things come with expectations. Relationships come with expectations. There is no equalness when it becomes man and woman, right? A woman expects you to do certain things and a man expects a woman to do certain things, right? Mm-hmm. And when you don't have a good understanding of what that expectation is, right? Such as we're talking about your friend, right? If she is the leader of the household, what it does is it makes him vulnerable and it increase the probability of him losing his wife. Because if she goes outside of the household in the workplace or meet a random guy out and he presents a masculine energy and fills a gap or a need that she's been longing for, then the likelihood of her cheating is to the higher side. I hate to say it, but once a woman loses respect for you, it's hard to get back, extremely hard to get back. And that's no different than once a man loses trust in his woman, it's damn near impossible to get back at the end of the day. And it kind of symbolizes the end of a relationship, and it's hard to come back from that.
So what is your recommendation for a man, say, that is currently in a relationship with a woman or maybe married to a woman who has the masculine energy, like essentially she wears the pants, and he wants to regain his manhood. He wants to take leadership and ownership of his household, but doesn't even know where to start, right?
Yeah. So first off, I don't know, well, if he wants to regain it. Obviously, he never had it in the first place.
Yes,
so
sir.
We'll just start there, right? Because it's not regaining anything. It was lost from the beginning, right?
Okay.
So one or two things. Either, you have to learn how to be a man by tuning in, right?
That's true.
Or you're going to have to get another girl.
You mean a wife?
Another wife, right? Unless you are comfortable without wearing the pants in your relationship, right? So hold on, let's be clear. Some people are comfortable without wearing the pants in their relationship. And that just doesn't work for me. That could work for another person or another man or another male, but that doesn't work for me. If you're comfortable in that position, getting told what to do and taking directives from your woman and her leading the household, then by all means, if that's your program and it works, then it works. But I guarantee you, if your woman run into a man like me, I'll take her. It's just that simple.
And I don't disagree with that. And I know it might sound a little like misogynistic or whatever the case may be, but at the end of the day, it might for a person who, you know, the feminist in the room, you know. I just feel like at the end of the day, a woman does not want to be masculine.
She does not.
It is not her natural nature to be masculine.
It's not.
So she has assumed a role that she's going to fill because it's necessary. Yeah. And so now she doesn't even know how to do anything else but be masculine.
So watch that. She assumed it out of necessity, but it's not natural.
Exactly.
Right? It's not innate for her to be that way, right? Absolutely. She assumed it out of necessity. And what I'm saying is, if that woman meets a man that is masculine, she's gonna go to that man, right? And you're gonna have to share that woman with that man. And that woman will do things for that man that she never did with you at the end of the day, because you lack the ability to be masculine and wear the pants.
Because you exchanged her masculine energy to take care of her security.
Yeah.
Understood.
Absolutely. Look at you. You're learning.
Come on.
That was good.
I like
what you just did there.
Thank
you brought that shit home because it's a fact.
I mean, I just full circle right now in the conversation.
Yeah. And then the next pillar of manhood will be to be a father.
Talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my
favorite one.
That's my favorite.
Talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely. The prerequisite of being a father is being a man first, right? You have to be a man in order to be a father, right?
So what if I already messed up and I'm a man? I'm already a dad, but I ain't a man.
Well, you're already a dad, but you're not a father.
Okay.
Because it's a distinct difference between the two, right?
Let's hear it.
Procreating and having a child that comes from you, by circumstances, you are the dad. Being a father is being active and being present in that kid's life and providing, protecting, and preparing at the end of the day, right?
Absolutely.
Right? So, you know, you can be a dad and not be active, right? Mm-hmm. Right? You can be a dad and not take care of your obligations. No, I'm sorry. Correction. It's not your kid is not an obligation. It's a duty. You have no choice in the matter. It's something that you have to do at the end of the day, right? And if you're not doing that, again, you're not a man, because you're not hitting all four pillars. So even if you're not even married to the woman, right? If you have a kid by that woman, right? At the end of the day, your duty is to take care of that kid. And if you're not taking care of that kid, first off, I don't respect you. I'm gonna start there.
Come on, being a friend and don't respect the friend. Take care of his kids.
Yeah, I don't respect you. And also, I know things are circumstantial where women keep men away from their kids.
Absolutely, we're not absolved.
And where women try to weaponize their kids against the father and so forth. So I do understand certain situations. I understand custody battles and so forth, which,
correct.
Right, I definitely went through one.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, right? So I get that, right? But if a woman is being fair and applicable when it comes to your kid and you choose not to be there because that's something that you choose to do, I don't respect you. And why? Like it's your child. You should be a father. And if you don't know how to be a father, right? You can't separate from yourself. You can't separate from what you created and try to learn to be a father and then come back years or two later and say, oh, I get it now. No, you have to learn simultaneously how to be a father.
And this is what I'm hearing you say, right? I'm just bringing it back to a couple of different points you made last episode and even a little bit today is excuses, right? Because what I hear is, in my head, I'm like, what is the average man going to say? Oh, my baby mama don't let me see my child. Or, oh, my baby mama doesn't let me.
Take her to court.
No excuses.
Take her to court. I don't have the finances to take her to court. So figure out how to get the finances. There should be nothing in between that separates you from your child, period. You should be doing everything in your power and outside your power to figure out how to be a father to your child.
And this goes back to what you just mentioned previously, though, is when a man hasn't reached his potential, when a male hasn't reached his potential as a man, he can't have that mentality, or he doesn't have the mentality of there's no excuse. There's nothing that should stop me from being a father to my child.
Correct.
Because he's not a man yet. He's
still
a male.
That's right.
So why I feel like this is the most important pillar is because it's something you can't obtain unless you've done the other thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Right.
From my observation, because I'm not a man and I'm not a father and I don't pretend to be.
No, I don't think it's necessarily the most important. I think all of them are equally important per se, but you have to be a man first in order to be a father. That is the prerequisite at the end of the day. And if you can't be a man, then you're not going to be a father. You'll be a dad because that's just a title that is just given to you because that's your child at the end of the day. But to be a father is something else. To be hands-on, to be present, to be active. I'm only speaking because I'm a man. I don't want no man raising my child. That's insane to me. Taking care of my duty to raise my child, that's asinine to me. And I don't, again, I'm going to keep saying it. I don't respect a male who allows another man to raise a child. The only excuse that you shouldn't be in your kid's life, unless you're in the ground 6 feet. Because you physically can't be there.
Are incarcerated.
They got FaceTime now.
Not FaceTiming in jail, Josh.
Just fucking show up for your kid. I'm just saying. Listen, I've never been incarcerated and whatever, but if you can figure out how to get women to send you naked pictures,
you can figure out how to talk to your child.
100%. Like that's all that I'm saying. Like
come on, accountability.
That's all I'm saying. Like just be accountable for what you're doing, right?
And that's what I hear. I hear like the word I keep hearing and everything that you're saying is accountability. Whether it's you, whether it's a friend of yours, like there needs to be more accountability from the men in the community because I feel like how can we all go out at night and you know your homeboy don't take care of his kids?
Yeah,
but you watch him tricking off in the section.
I can't go out with you.
That's crazy.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. That's asinine. I can't go out with you because, and then I feel less than a man because I'm not holding you accountable. I'm not holding you accountable to the standards in which I hold myself accountable. And if I know you're a bad dad, again.
What type of friend you gonna be to me, or what type of man you gonna be to me? If that's your first priority, it's supposed to be rather.
First off, I only need you as a friend. You're not even my friend. You just might be an associate.
Right.
Just at best at the end of the day, right? Go take care of your fucking kid. That shit is just simple. Like it ain't. It's simple, and if you don't know how to take care of your kid, right? Learn how to take care of your kid, right? That's why God gave you intelligence and reason, right? Learn how to replace bad habits with good habits. Like stop making excuses why you are not there for your kid. And when your kid get older and he or she resents you, they should. You weren't there to take care of them at the end of the day. You were not showing up for them at the end of the day, right? And that's one of those things where, again, I'm going to keep saying that I don't respect you.
And honestly, at the end of the day, all this just boils back to the necessary thing that we're doing is the podcast, right? Because there needs to be a platform where there are men holding men accountable for them not being men. Like, absolutely. Like if you surround yourself with like-minded individuals who perpetuate the bullshit essentially, right? Absolutely. And the fuckery that you're participating in, then it's going to be normal to you. Absolutely. So if you surround yourself with men who hold themselves to a certain esteem and hold you accountable, then you have no choice but to be accountable for your actions. And that's why I believe that True Podcast is about to just change the game, because this is what the generation needs. They need not only an example, but men and peer groups that are holding them accountable for what they're doing. Absolutely. Accountable to the fuckery that men are doing. And there are no consequences associated with your actions. That's it. Right? There's no consequences. Yeah. If I can wake up and do what I want and do what I feel and have no regret, no anything that I'm not being present for my child, and then I go out and it's finding females and sections and bottles and all this craziness that people do. It's like, how do you feel so comfortable waking up every day and not being present? And not only not being present, but from my own personal perspective, not even acknowledging that the person who is doing it is doing it. Right. So I just appreciate everything about this space of the 4 pillars of manhood that is essentially holding the man accountable for, him not showing up in every aspect of being a man as he should. Right. Absolutely. Thank you, Josh, for that clarification. Thank you, Shamaya, for listening. I love to listen. Let me learn. I feel like sometimes as women, we like to talk a lot. Yeah, you guys do. We don't like to listen a lot. And I feel like, when a man is telling you what a man is, what he needs, what he does, it's not your position to challenge that. it's your position to understand, learn, and receive. Because, like you said, a woman can never teach a man how to be a man.
Right. Again, so it's understanding the nature of that man, just like a man needs to understand the nature of that woman. Right. It's an even exchange at the end of the day. Right. And it's simple. It's not complicated. I think we complicate things because how we feel about things.
Absolutely.
Versus what are factual about things. Right. Your feelings are not facts. Facts are facts, and your feelings are feelings.
I think that as women, sometimes we have to feel like we need to be heard for validation, not understanding the validation really comes from the man. Like we're thriving to be validated, but why does a woman argue with a man about what a man needs to do? Like, who are you to tell a man how to be a man? Like,
Absolutely.
You have no bearings, no experience. You will never
Nothing.
know
Nothing.
how it feels to be a
Absolutely.
man, not how it feels to be a father.
Absolutely.
Like, so who am I
Right.
to challenge you? Even if you haven't reached your full potential, even if you haven't
Of
found
course.
your purpose,
Sure.
I will never know what it feels like to be you.
Absolutely.
So what can I do? I can be quiet.
And
I can listen. And so since we now have a clear understanding of what a man is and the 4 pillars that make him a man, what do the people have to look forward to next week?
Well, the people must tune in to the next episode. Episode 3?
I think so.
3? The disconnect between men and women.
I think we touched a little bit on that today, but I would love
We
to
did,
deep
but we're
dive.
going to definitely go more into detail.
Let's
about,
unpack it.
Yeah, unpack it all.
It's giving baggage.
Baggage?
It's giving childhood trauma.
Facts.
It's giving, let's talk about it.
Because it need to be talked
Let's
about.
pray about it.
Yeah, and talk about it, touch and agree.
Let's take it to the Lord.
Absolutely. Yeah, and take it to
Amen.
our podcast. I'm excited.
I'm ready.
Yeah. Sorry.
Bye, guys.
Oh, shit.